Hello everybody, Mark, aka the Nerdy Punk, back again tonight for a new video. Hope you all are doing well. I hope you've had a good week. It is now Friday night. Long weekend this weekend, thanks to Martin Luther King Day on Monday, so I hope you all enjoy that. And as a history teacher, I hope you do some reflecting on Martin Luther King as a person and what he meant to the United States. Nonetheless, serious stuff out of the way. Today I'm going to go through my not top 10, more like top 15 most anticipated movies of 2023. There's a lot of really good stuff that's either guaranteed to come out this year or likely to come out this year, and I'm really excited to talk about it. I think it's going to be a fantastic year for film. I said last year that I thought last year was going to be the best year of the decade. I don't know if last year was quite as good as 2021, but we are now firmly, I think, into the I don't know if you'd want to say post-pandemic world, even though the pandemic is still a thing. It's like the way that we have approached dealing with it is certainly different. So, I think things are back more towards a normalcy. Again, the idea of what's normal is different, but nonetheless, as far as the movie industry goes, I think we have finally moved past this period where films got delayed constantly and things were being released to streaming all the time at the same time as movie theaters, and things are definitely starting to return to a more normal thing. And typically speaking, that is good news for us movie goers because A, we get to go to the theaters, B, a lot of these movies that have been kind of put on the back burner in the past couple of years are coming out. So I don't know, I have really high hopes this year, and I'm hoping it's a fantastic year for film. What I'm going to do, this is not going to be a top 10 list or anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run through by calendar order the release dates of these movies and why I'm excited for them. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about every movie that doesn't have a release date, but is likely to come out in 2023. So sit back, grab yourself some popcorn and a drink. I've got my water here. We're taking it easy on a Friday night. Got a lot of stuff I want to get accomplished this weekend, so nothing too crazy, just a little bit of water that I will be enjoying throughout the video. And let's get started. So, first movie on the calendar is January 27th of 2023, and that is Infinity Pool. Infinity Pool is directed by Brandon Cronenberg, and it stars Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgård. So there's two reasons immediately why I want to see this movie. The first is Brandon Cronenberg. He's the son of David Cronenberg, who's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. And I saw Brandon's movie Possessor that came out a couple of years ago, and I really liked it. I thought it was unique and interesting. He's bringing a lot of fresh ideas to the horror genre, and so I'm really excited for that. And then anytime you say Mia Goth and horror together, I am down for that too. Mia Goth was, of course, in 2 horror movies last year with X and Pearl. She did an amazing job in those movies. One of the best horror performances I've ever seen in Pearl. I mean, she is amazing as that character, and I've liked her in other stuff in this world before. I can remember Mia Goth. I first learned of her in 2017. I know a lot of people are kind of just now learning who she is. She was in a movie called A Cure for Wellness, which came out in 2017, that I thought was very underrated that year. And she gave a great, creepy performance in that movie too. So I really like her roles in these horror movies. So I'm excited to see this. I'm fingers crossed that it comes to a theater at least within an hour of me, because it is kind of a lower budget movie. I don't know if it will make its way to all kinds of theaters, but I am definitely looking forward to this one. If I can't catch it in a theater, I will get it on Blu-ray, 4K, whatever. Next one, we have to skip all the way to April. April 21st, which is actually my birthday. Incredible birthday present this year. I'm getting a new Ari Aster movie on my birthday. Ari Aster is the filmmaker behind Hereditary and Midsommar, 2 of my favorite movies of recent years. I've seen his work from the very beginning. I was on in a theater on opening weekend for Hereditary a couple of years ago, and well, actually that's been 4 years. That's nuts. nonetheless, Hereditary especially is one of my favorite horror movies ever. So I will see everything that Ari Aster makes. This one stars Joaquin Phoenix. And, I don't even know if I gave you the title of the movie. It's called Beau is Afraid, is the title of the film. This was originally called Disappointment Boulevard when it was first announced. And we really didn't get a lot about it. And the news was that Ari Aster wasn't going to do another horror movie, that he was going to go into more of a comedy drama realm. This appears to be kind of a mixture between comedy and horror, with maybe a little bit of action in there too. I've seen the trailer. If you like watching trailers before movies and you're not worried about anything being spoiled or anything, nothing I don't think was spoiled in the trailer, definitely check it out. It's a wild trailer. It looks like it's going to be a wild movie, and I'm really excited for it. One of my favorite directors paired with one of my favorite actors. Can't go wrong. On my birthday, that's going to be awesome. Sorry, excuse me. Grab a little bit of water. Next movie is June 16th. The new movie from Wes Anderson called Asteroid City is supposed to come out. I know relatively little about it. I know there's a star-studded cast, as you always see with Wes Anderson movies. I mean, he gets the craziest ensemble casts, and he's just such a creative, unique filmmaker. Not necessarily one of my favorites, but I really appreciate his work. And every time I see a Wes Anderson movie, the one thing I always come out of it with is that I wish I could live in one of his movies. Like, the world he creates is so detailed, and there's just something so, like, intoxicating about it that you just want to live in his movies. And while, like I said, he's not my favorite filmmaker, I really like his work, and I'm going to see every movie that he makes, too. So, really excited for some new Wes Anderson. In the end of June, June 30th, last weekend of the month, we have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This is the 5th Indiana Jones movie, the first one not to be directed by Steven Spielberg. This is directed by James Mangold, who made Logan, among many other movies. Logan was one of the best comic book movies that I've seen in recent times. So I'm excited for this. I'm a big Indiana Jones fan ever since childhood. I remember seeing Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in theaters because that was my generation. That was one of my first PG-13 movies back then. So I liked it at the time. I don't like it now. I go back and watch it, and the original 3 are so much better. But as, you know, as somebody who loves history, especially, I know that Indiana Jones is not based on real stuff, obviously, but that kind of was one of the sparks behind my love for history, was Indiana Jones movies back in the day. So I'm excited to see Harrison Ford's last Indiana Jones film, and we'll see if that franchise continues in any way, shape, or form. In July, so there's a lot of movies in July that I'm really looking forward to. On July 14th, we have Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Mission Impossible movies are the pinnacle of action movies right now, in my opinion. It's really Mission Impossible and James Bond are like the top 2 action franchises, in my opinion. And say what you will about Tom Cruise, maybe not the best human being in the world, but he is a fantastic actor, and his dedication to acting is amazing. The man is almost 60, he's still doing his own stunts, and every single Mission Impossible movie, it seems like he raises the bar. So I'm definitely excited for more Mission Impossible. And then the next weekend, on July 21st, there are actually 2 movies coming out that I really want to see. It is perhaps the oddest box office pairing I have ever seen. So, first of all, we have Barbie, directed by Greta Gerwig, stars Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Simu Liu, several other pretty famous actors and actresses. Now, if you were to tell me, literally just a year ago, that I would have a Barbie movie as one of my top anticipated movies of the year, I would have said you're nuts. You were absolutely insane. I don't know how they did it, but they have got me excited for a Barbie movie. Greta Gerwig behind the camera. I think she's a great director, and I really like her work. Margot Robbie in the title role. I mean, I am a huge fan of Margot Robbie. I will see every single one of her movies. She is easily my favorite actress that is working right now. You got those two combined, and then the trailer looks so interesting and unique. I don't know how this is going to go at all. This could be absolutely terrible, or this could be amazing. And I would lean towards the amazing territory, as odd as that sounds, because of the talent behind this movie. I have absolutely no idea what we're going to see with this movie, and I don't say that often. I am often surprised, through plots, but rarely am I shocked at what happens in a movie. I may be shocked in this one. I have no idea. I really cannot tell you what's going to happen in this movie, but I will be there opening weekend to see it. I can tell you that. The same weekend, I will also be seeing Oppenheimer, which is the second half of this very odd pairing. Oppenheimer, directed by Christopher Nolan. It's the newest Nolan film. And while I'm not as big of a fan of Nolan anymore as I was, I'd say my early years of loving movies, Nolan was my favorite director for a while because he made The Dark Knight, which I thought was my favorite movie for a long time. It's still one of my favorites. It's not my single favorite movie, but I loved that movie. I loved Inception, which is fantastic. I mean, he's made many iconic movies, and he is certainly a very talented filmmaker. Some of his visuals are unbelievable. He's maybe one of the best visual directors that we have. So I'm going to see anything that he does too. And the cast of this movie is absolutely bonkers. Seriously, look it up. Anybody who's anybody is in this movie. Just an insane amount of talent. Cillian Murphy is playing the lead role of J. Robert Oppenheimer, so it talks about his life and the creation of the nuclear bomb. I've heard some insane stuff about visuals in this movie. I heard that Nolan somehow recreated a nuclear explosion without CGI. I don't know how that's possible. This is gonna be nuts. It's gonna be insane. So July 21st is a crazy day. I don't think I'm gonna see both these movies the same day. Maybe I'll see one of them Thursday night, one of them Friday. I don't know. It's gonna be wild. That's all I can say. This summer is stacked. I don't know if this year is as well spread out in terms of movies as some of the others, but this summer is going to be incredible, I think. I think it's going to be a really great summer for blockbusters and for the movie industry. We're going to skip all the way down to September now, and September 15th is the planned release date of A Haunting in Venice, which is the next Agatha Christie adaptation directed and starring Kenneth Branagh. And I have enjoyed his Agatha Christie adaptations. I know they haven't really gotten great reviews. A lot of people didn't really care for them. I like them for what they are, I think when you're looking at more recent whodunit murder mystery movies, you really have two classes of movies. You have Knives Out and Rian Johnson's series, and then you have this series, like Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, which was the one that came out last year. They're much lower tier, in my opinion, in terms of quality, but I still like them. They have ensemble casts, just like Rian Johnson's movies do as well. And you really don't get these type of movies anymore. They're very rare, so I like to see them whenever I get the chance. They're kind of movies, though, that I feel like I watch once and then don't watch for a very long time. And then on November 3rd, the last movie that we have a release date for, that I'm really excited for, is Dune Part 2. This is the follow-up to Dune from 2021 from Denis Villeneuve. This is the second half of the book. I've never read the book. I've heard it's a really difficult book to read. But I really liked where Denis Villeneuve took this in the first half, and I can't wait to see how it wraps up. Timothée Chalamet is fantastic in this movie. The cast has only gotten better. They've added in Austin Butler, Christopher Walken, a couple other pretty famous people that I'm blanking on right now, but it sounds like it's going to be a fantastic cast. I'm sure the visuals will be amazing, so I'm excited to see how this story wraps up. Now, that's all that's on the calendar, but then we've got 6 more movies that will probably be released, fingers crossed, this year. So let me go through those real quick. First is Killers on the Flower Moon, which is directed by Martin Scorsese. Obviously, Scorsese is one of the GOATs, he's one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. there's no way I'm gonna skip a Martin Scorsese movie. So the one thing that I am kind of concerned with about this, I think it's gonna be a fantastic film. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Jesse Plemons, a couple other pretty famous people. Again, blanking on names, I'm sorry. But the one thing that has me concerned is that this is an Apple TV movie, and I'm really concerned they may not release it to theaters, and that would be a big disappointment. I think every Martin Scorsese movie should be seen on a big screen, and I will be very disappointed if it's not. Next one up here is Poor Things, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. He is one of my favorite kind of recent filmmakers. He makes very odd, quirky movies. His most recent film was The Favorite, which was a movie about, I think it was about like the monarchy in England. It's kind of a period piece. It was one of my favorites of 2018. Favorite, pun intended. I think it was one of the better movies of that year. That was kind of a weaker year for movies, in my opinion. He made a movie called The Lobster, which I thought was insanely creative and interesting. He's known for his very dry dialogue and jokes and humor. He made a really cool, bizarre movie called The Killing of a Sacred Deer that I really liked. And this one sounds really intriguing. It's adapting a novel. It stars Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo. So great cast, great director. Looking forward to that. I think production is already wrapped on that movie, so I'm hoping it will get a release kind of before the end of the year, but we'll see. Could be a festival movie. Next one is The Killer, which is directed by David Fincher. Again, favorite director of mine. I believe he is reuniting with one of the, I think is a cinematographer from Seven, which is one of my favorite of his films. And it follows, the only thing we really know about the plot is, I believe it follows a serial killer played by Michael Fassbender. So could be weird, could be interesting, who knows, but it's a David Fincher movie, so I'm gonna watch it. Next up is Maxine. If I were to rate my movies as to what I'm most excited for, Maxine would be near the top. This is the conclusion of the X trilogy by Ty West, of course starring Mia Goth in the title role. And this is the sequel to X. So Pearl served as a prequel, this will serve as a sequel, and both movies have been great, so I'm excited to see where they wrap this up. Next one up is Napoleon. Napoleon is directed by Ridley Scott. Big historical epic, directed by Ridley Scott. I am there for it, absolutely. Ridley Scott can be hit or miss, definitely, but I'm hoping this is a hit, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon Bonaparte. So I have faith that this one will be good. And then finally, the last movie on my most anticipated of 2023 is Nosferatu, which is directed by Robert Eggers. So this is an adaptation of the original vampire story and directed by Robert Eggers. I'm gonna watch every Robert Eggers movie. He has made movies like The Witch, The Lighthouse, and most recently The Northman. All fantastic movies, so I'm definitely excited for that one as well. So that is it. That's my list of most anticipated movies of 2023. Hopefully, if you haven't heard of some of these movies, you got a chance to hear about them, to think about them, to research them, and get yourself excited to watch them as well. Let me know in the comments down below what you're excited for this year, something that maybe I've missed that I should be covering and should be looking out for. I'd love to hear about it in the comments, so definitely leave those below. Have an amazing weekend, guys. I will hopefully be in touch before the weekend is over. I got some plans to watch some movies this weekend, so stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you later. Bye.